Yeah, this live stream may or may not be for you, but consider this: learn to adapt. You know, yeah, it's like Tupac said, either you evolve or you disappear. In this life. Too many times people get stuck in the past and caught up in situations where you're looking at where you once were, or you got these ideas about who you should be. But in order to survive, a lot of times it's about changing and growing. And understanding the landscape of what's going on. Just becoming somebody different, something different. In order to exist, to grow, to survive in this landscape, in this world. Thank you to the one person that came through the thumbs up or whatever. It is about learning to adapt. Learning to evolve. Just imagine if you got older, you're in your 30s, and you still got the mentality of a 5-year old, or whatever the case may be, and not being able to grow and mature and whatnot, stuff like that. It is one of those things, um, where it's necessary to your survival. It's necessary to understand and to learn different things, to just basically become more of who you need to be as far as life is concerned, moving forward. Too many times we sit around looking and waiting for things to happen and wondering what could go our way, instead of going out there and making it happen. Too many times folks are just stagnant and just you know, not with what needs to be done. I mean, it's just about having an open mindedness. So many times, in life, and just progressing from each day to the next step. Maybe it's the agricultural thing, the seed time and harvest that we need. In order to exist. Where we will be. In the future. Sometimes people get caught up on, past hurt, past pain, or they're so caught up in past glory and stuff like that, not realizing that what you once were is not who you need to be in this moment, or even going forward in the future. I think it was Muhammad Ali that said that if you're the same person, and I'm paraphrasing this, if you're the same person in your 50s as you were in your 20s, then you wasted 30 years of your life. So it is about learning to adapt. It's about understanding the technology and stuff like that. What's going on, wine tasting? It's hard to move on from the past. I agree 100%. Yeah, yeah, no, it can be a challenge. It can be a challenge because sometimes our past days could have been our best days. It could have been our glory. It could have been the time where we were, at our strongest, or we felt like we were at our strongest. But sometimes when you look back on your past and where you were, you may not have been the most humble. You may have not been the most willing, the most open-minded, ready to understand and approach things from a perspective. With time, with age, with open-mindedness, with clarity of thought comes wisdom, or with wisdom comes clarity of thought, a sober mind, you know, a lack of fear, for what's to come, what's out there and whatnot, So I encourage folks to constantly adapt, to constantly grow, to constantly change, to constantly see things, differently, to constantly, look at things and say, you challenge the status quo, not to the point where you don't understand what order is and the proper way to do things, but just as if to say, should I be the same way I was 10, 15 years ago? Like I said, it's just so nothing changes about you, so you don't want to be the same person you was, tomorrow that you were, when you were a teenager, or when you were in your early 20s or whatever the case may be, even if you're in your youngin, you don't want to think the same way that you thought when you were a child, so I think it was written, when I was a child, I played as a child, I spake as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things, so it comes to the point where you remember what it's like to be, who you were, or do the things that you did as a child, or do the things that you did yesterday. But moving forward, in order to survive, sometimes you almost have to shed yourself for certain things. You have to be willing to let go. The past is the past. It's a day which no longer exists, even in this moment. This moment is this moment right now, but, you know, so quick does the past come. So quick does the future and the present moment come, So what do? Do you hold on to those moments that were favorable to you, or do you go into the moments, to the places, to the peaks, to the valleys, where you are your truest self, where you represent, the possibilities, the faults, the flaws, whatever it is that you go through, and you work through it, and you just progress like that goes. I wish I had some stories or something for you like that to share. I need to start coming up with some stories or something like that to illustrate the points. But the point is, basically, it comes to a situation where if you don't grow and adapt and change your mindset, to understanding of the time that you're in, then you become stagnant. You don't grow. You don't prosper in the way that you should. It's imagine, somebody still stuck in a mentality of the 80s or the 60s or 70s, and we're here now in a new generation. People using smartphones and stuff like that. It is important to, understand the time that you're in, the technology that's around, the ways of thinking and stuff like that. You don't always have to agree with what's going on in today's society. But it's important to understand the climate that you're in. You know, we're not in the 60s or the 70s anymore. We're not in the 1800s. We're not in the 1950s. Things are different. Ways of thinking are vastly different from what they were. People, have certain things that may be acceptable that once weren't acceptable. There's just different ways that people go about things, even if it seems like a variation of something that is old. In this time, it is new to the people of this time, for this time. So I say to learn, to adapt, to grow, to change, so you can prosper, so you can survive and exist in the time that you're in. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying conform to any time or any standard or any status quo, but learn to adapt in order to become who you need to become. Because, once you get older and once you start to experience things, of course, it makes more sense not to do things as you did it, with lesser understanding. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. What's up, Drunken One? I appreciate you for coming through. This is just a chill kickback live stream. May not be a long live stream, but just talking about, just the difference, for surviving and growing and just learning and, being at peace with certain things and understanding that, we live in a different time, that whoever you were in your 20s is not the same person you want to be in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s. You want to constantly grow and change and learn and keep an open mind. Keeping an open mind keeps you sharper, keeps you humble, keeps you realistic about what's going on in the world around you. If things change, you change with it as necessary. Yeah. I look at war hands than ever today. Thank you, Drunken One. I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that. Maybe it's the light, that's shining off of me and the plants dripping in the background. Who knows? But I just tell folks, don't be afraid to embrace, the future. Don't be afraid to embrace the moment, the differences, the changes that need to happen. Maybe it was early drinking. Yeah, nah. I wasn't drinking. Actually, I had some tea. So maybe the tea was making me feel youthful. I don't know. But yeah, it's a situation where I say to people, don't be afraid to go out there and embrace the challenges, of this new generation, this new society. We can learn so much from each other. We can learn so much from the youth. We can learn so much just from going out there and seeing what's in the world, seeing what exists. Not being afraid to just tackle life and you know um, see what the differences are, or see how we fit into the landscape of today. So many people may disparage the youth, or may say, hey, I don't want to use social media, or I'm afraid of technology, or maybe I want to do things the way that I've always done them, and I'm traditionalist, or whatever the case may be. And I encourage people to not conform just to the standards blindly of the world or society, but to be willing to understand. You mix a combination of the old and the new, which creates your present, and then move forward from there. Too many people miss out on good opportunities out in this world because they're afraid to adapt and change and grow and experience new and different things. If only we could teach them how to work. That's funny. You can't Drunken One. But first you have to be willing to listen to what the youth have to say and what's going on with them, and what's going on in the world. Just because there's a lot of things we may not agree with out in the world doesn't mean there's not a lot of good stuff to gather, to glean, to push towards. This doesn't mean there's not a lot to learn. What's going on, Alex Fisher? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. Nothing wrong with that. Thank you for being here. I'll be on just for a few more minutes. I'm not going to keep you too long. Just a moment of your time. Just a moment of your time. But this is just learning about to adapt, to grow, to change, so you're not making yourself stagnant in life. So you're not, holding back your own growth and your opportunities and things that may come. Being able to learn new technology, understand people's ways of thinking. I think, who was it? Was it Plato or Socrates? I forgot which one it says. It says that mark of an intelligent mind is being able to entertain an idea without accepting it. And I'm paraphrasing that, of course. I forgot who said that. I don't know if it's Socrates or if it's Plato, whatever philosopher said that. I had to find out which one said that. But, you know, there's a lot of things you can entertain. There's a lot of things that you can explore and keep an open mind to, that you don't necessarily have to accept. But it is about, learning to adapt, learning to evolve, learning to stay open to, what it is that you need to do to survive. Or else, it is like the quote I put down there, you learn to, you know, basically evolve or you disappear. You die before your time, or you live a meaningless existence. If you don't want to grow, want to change, or whatever the case may be. There's nothing wrong with getting old. There's nothing wrong with having old school ways on how you do things. Some things are traditional, some things are classic, some things remain the same no matter what the time is. Be it a way people eat, or religious practice, or just work wise, or whatever the case people may do. But then there's the other things, embracing the time that we're in. Scott King online says, Scott King. Okay, Scott King is here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for adding that comment to the conversation. But for the most part, it's about growth. It's about not making yourself stagnant. It's not saying, okay, I'm stuck in my ways and I'll always be this way and I'll never change. There's never no need to change. And I see too many people caught up in that. Unfortunately, sometimes it's the older folks. And then even sometimes, from time to time, you'll see younger folks who say, this is the way I am and I'm not open to any ideas. I just like doing things the way that I do it. And then you find them as time goes on, they get older and get older and get older. And then nothing changes. So you want to be in a situation where you're constantly open to what's going on in society. Be informed, be aware, stay woke, as they say. Don't be so afraid to go out there and experience things. Don't be afraid to meet new people, and experience new experiences. And just entertain different ideas. You don't have to accept everything that's going on in the world. You don't have to agree with everything that's going on in the world. You don't have to be a part of everything that's going on in the world. But it is important to know what's going on, to be abreast, to be balanced, to be, just, somebody who's concerned and pays attention to, what's going on. Just, some people don't like watching the news, but, turn on the news sometimes, read a newspaper, go online, find out what's going on in the world. Be more present, be less absent, from the world. Be present for your life, if anything. Don't be afraid to, you know, learn and grow and change and adapt and become who you can be, the best of who you can be. You know what I'm saying? Be a pro YouTuber, gamer. Yeah. Hey, Scott King, if that's what you want to do, why not? Be the best pro YouTuber gamer you can. If you want to be the best drunken one, be the best drunken one. If you want to be the best beauty tutorialist, you can do that. But keep an open mind to things. Don't close yourself out. Don't isolate yourself and put yourself in a vein where you can't learn, where you can't grow, where you can't prosper, because sometimes you're stuck and stagnant in your own ways, or the old way of doing things, or even creating a new tradition that you're not willing to change because maybe ego or something has gotten in the way, or pride or something has stopped you from, becoming who you needed to be. So, there's a lot of things that folks can do. You can talk to the youth, and you can really just go out there and experience different cultures, speak to people online, go to different events, what I'm saying? Just make the effort to go out there and see life, This cool song called Sun Cream. Let's look at it. Yeah, I have to. I have an open mind to that. I will go back to this and do that. Let's all stick together. Yeah, sticking together helps, when you're in the right mindset and whatnot. But just be open to the opportunities, be open to the possibilities. I probably would dig a drunken one. Come from you, I probably would. I probably would like the song. It's something I probably would get into and really just dig in a real proper way. A groovy situation or whatever. I think drunken one probably has a good taste in music. I'll let you know about it though, definitely. And if I forget, you just remind me. I'll go back into this chat and I'll see the name of the song or whatever the case may be. But I encourage people. I encourage people automatically. So seriously. Don't cheat yourself out of the chance to learn, to grow, to adapt, to search out new ideas, new ways of thinking. Different ways of living, understanding, and experiencing different cultures and stuff like that. Whether it's something with sexuality or race, religion, political, I guess, dealings or whatever the case may be. Just be willing to just keep an open mind. I say, and that's something that helped you, to learn to adapt, to learn to grow, to learn to, really come into your own. Be it you young, be it you old, wherever you may come from, because we live in a world and this is the only world we got, so don't spend so much of your time just being closed off from it and not willing to live in it and be a part of it. Sometimes we cheat ourselves out of the experiences that are out there in the world because maybe we're fearful, or maybe we have pride, or just a self-righteousness that overtakes us about ourselves, or maybe you may be a know-it-all or something like that. Saying, well, why should I adapt? Why should I change? Why should I conform to the world, or why should I be different in any way? And it comes to a point where you live and you learn and you adapt and you grow, because what is the alternative? The alternative is to be stagnant, is to be destructive or self-destruct and have self-pity and stuff like that, and not really prosper and grow in the way that you should. And what's the fun, what's the use, what's the percentage in that? I mean, I don't think any of us are born on this planet to necessarily not grow, to not change, to not adapt, to become a person for the times. I think I was watching Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis, and it was a scene where he was talking to the young soldiers, and he was basically breaking down where he got the whole thing, all men are created equal and whatnot. And he was talking about that whole thing, which would become, landmark later on, historic later on in the annals of history, with all men being created equal, what that's about. But then all of a sudden, one of the soldiers, at least as it was depicted in the movie, asked Daniel Day-Lewis's character, you know, um, who was Lincoln, playing Lincoln, do you think you're a man of the times? Being a man of the times is important, to being a man of the times. And he was talking about that. And he said, I think I am. And it's important to learn to grow, to adapt, so you become somebody who's of the times, to become somebody who's not being left behind with all the things that are possible for you to do, for your family, for people, friends around you. Let me see what Drunken One says. Learning wisdom of our brother. Well, I don't know if it's wicked wisdom, but it's just some wisdom, some things that I picked up or whatever. Just me talking, having a chill kick back with you, just this live stream and whatnot. These are just my thoughts, my truths, my opinions, and stuff like that. So I'm not asking everybody to agree with them, but like I said in the beginning of the live stream, you may or may not agree with this live stream, or this live stream may or may not be for you. But consider this. And shout out to all the people that are watching in the replay gang. You know what I'm saying? You know how that goes. I appreciate you folks for getting to this point. Whoever watches this in a replay that gets to this point, and I appreciate the folks that are here now. I've been steady and consistent with you folks. I'm still gonna keep rocking out and keep going. The next live stream probably be a lot. It probably be a lighter mood in the next live stream. This is not too heavy-handed. Hopefully, this is not too heavy-handed for you in this live stream. But I've been keeping it cool. I've just been busy today doing a lot of different things or whatever the case may be. But I think you kind of get the gist of where I'm coming from. It is a situation where this is stuff that you already know. Either it's almost like, I don't want to say it's the survival of the fittest, or natural selection or anything like that, but it is a situation that if you want to survive, if you want to grow, you constantly learn, adapt, keep an open mind, study, be aware of what's going on in the world around you. Don't hide. I see too many people hiding off in the corner, hoping that the world leaves them alone and just lets them be, and you stay in your living room, or you stay in your house, wherever you're at, in your own little corner space of the world, and it won't come and interfere with you. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. I know it. There you go, Drunken One. You have somebody, yeah, you want somebody on your side. You want the big man on your side. Hopefully that's what you're talking about. But for the most part, I tell folks, keep an open mind, stay woke, be aware. Don't close yourself off. Don't divorce yourself from reality, from society. Don't make it so that you can't grow. Don't make it so that you can't be the best person that you could possibly be, in any particular situation. You know, I mean, there's so much more to see. There's so much, living to do. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, from the hood. I'm from the hood. Yeah, from the projects to be specific. But it's all good, drunken one. Love and peace, soul grease, to everybody and whatnot. You know how that works. Red Hook in the building, Red Hook, Brooklyn. But yeah, yeah, nah. I think that's what I got for you right now. I don't have a whole bunch more. I got another live stream that I may do later, may or may not do later, depending on what's going on in the game. And I tell folks out there, for those that care about basketball sports, don't forget to watch Game 3 of the NBA Finals on ABC at 9 p.m. Eastern. So I'm about to go get ready for that to see what's going to transpire with that. Who knows? Maybe I'll go live at halftime or after the game. I'm not sure. But for this time being, I say as always, thank you to the replay gang, people that watch, later on. Thank you for all the people that are watching and support now. I appreciate you more than you know. Words can't describe what it means. And then also, as always, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. Bye, bye, bye. Thanks for watching.